Today, let's talk about things I never, ever do in my home studio.
I've got a ton of gravel in my shoes, world on my shoulder, heart full of blues. I'm in the dirt, down in the dirt.
Okay, so the first thing that I never ever do here is gate drums. Woo-hoo-hoo. I never gate drums when I'm mixing or in any other moment. But let me show you how I deal with bleed in drums. Most or all of the character of the drums is in the room. It's in the relationship between the drum microphones and how their phase relationship is, and the sound when you hit a snare drum. What does that sound like coming through the tom microphone or through the room microphone or even through the kick microphone? But most of the time there's too much bleed going on, and I even find this especially with toms. I'm very particular on toms. Here's how I get around never gating drums ever. So what I do is I use volume automation, and I draw volume automation in for every tom hit. Now this gives me the ability to have total control over the volume of the tom hit in every single tom hit and over the release or how it turns back down. Unlike a gate doesn't give me this flexibility. So if there's a tom hit and then a hi-hat hit immediately after it, I can get that tom back out of the way of the hi-hat quickly. Or if it's a tom hit at the end of a section and I want the resonance of the tom to ring out, I can do that, and I do it all manually with volume automation. I never use gates on drums. I only use volume automation on them when mixing. Now the next thing that I never do is I never ever say anything negative to anyone who is in the studio, especially singers. Never say anything negative to them if they're not doing what you like. Always spin it in a positive way. So instead of saying, hey, don't sing sharp anymore, or don't mumble that word, or don't sing too loud, you always tell them what to do. Hey, let's work on enunciating this a little bit clearer. Let's sing a little bit softer. You always frame everything in a positive way, not a negative way. I think this is super important because as producers, one of our biggest jobs is managing people's headspace. We want to keep them in the right headspace so we can get the best performances out of them possible. I think this is something that is super overlooked. Never say anything negative, only say things positive to get the results that you're trying to get out of your clients. I love these microphone stands. They are so heavy duty, big old counterweight on them, on wheels, so we can just wheel this over here, wheel this one right back over here, and now microphone's ready for the next session. Links in description. Okay, the next thing that I never ever do is I never send out a mix to a client for approval without a limiter on it. I always want to mimic or at least get close to a mastered volume mix when I send it out to a client, because the volume and how it interacts with a limiter can drastically impact a client's feelings about it. Now, I'm not trying to debate the loudness wars here in this video, but 100% of the times I get less critiques and less mix revision notes, and the clients are generally happier with the mix if there's a limiter on the mix when I send it out for approval. Now, obviously, we have to remove this limiter before mastering or before sending to your mastering engineer. That's super important, and I'm not saying that you should mix into a limiter at all, but mix your song right before you send it to your client for approval, throw a limiter on it, get it up to a somewhat reasonably loud volume, print it, send it to the client. It will make your revision processes much easier.
All right. Hello, beautiful. Yes.
This is called a resonator guitar, for those of you that don't know, or also known as a dobro. There's literally like a head in here that resonates, so it almost sounds like a banjo, but I absolutely love these. Been wanting one for a long time. This brings me to my next point, is to always tune your instruments up to the note. Never tune them down. Can you go? Oh, I gotta turn that around. Come on. There we go, right there. Yes, links in description for that and for the Hercules stands. But never tune your instruments down to the note. You always want to tune your instruments up to the note. So if your note is sharp and you need to tune it, you need to go down below the note and come back up to it. I talked all about this. I have a whole video on tuning tricks for your instruments. I'll link that down below as well. So this next one is a little bit difficult sometimes. I never, ever get mad or let my anger show or be confrontational with a client or with anyone in the studio. Now, this is outside of the space of coaching them and never saying anything negative while they're actually working on a performance. This is more like they're difficult to work with. They want things that are unreasonable. They're expecting things that you can't provide, or they're just generally being a real pain in the butt. I just never, ever, ever let myself get actually upset at them. Even if I am actually upset, remain professional and calm and collected. Take some time off before replying to texts if you need to. Just make sure that you never lose your cool on anyone you ever work with musically. And I think this is super, super important. The links in description for everything you've seen so far and every other thing that I use. Those links go to Sweetwater, and if you use any of those links, it costs you nothing extra, but it really goes a long way to help support the channel, so I appreciate it. If anytime you ever need any piece of musical gear, jump on any one of my videos, click on any one of the links, purchase anything you need, and it helps out a lot. Thank you very much to you for using the links and to Sweetwater for sponsoring this video. All right, the next thing is I never ever start mixing a song or anything, or mastering, or even working for that matter, without spending some time listening to music. Personally, I work on a lot of more top 40 type of music, and so I spend some time every single morning listening to what's on the top charts. I just pull up Apple Music, which there's a link below to Apple Music playlist of tons of songs. I can't even talk. There's a playlist below, a link to an Apple Music playlist below if you guys want to check out a bunch of music that I've worked on. But I listen to 5, 6, 10 songs that are on the top charts, and I do this every single morning to just kind of warm my ears up, familiarize myself with things, and kind of put my head in my ears in the right place before I get started. So I never start working without listening to some music. Okay, we gotta go check on a pulled pork I got on the smoker right now. Talking about. It's almost time to spritz. The next thing, I never drink espresso after about 2 p.m. It's a bad time trying to go to sleep. All right, I'm fully aware that this next one is going to be somewhat controversial, and that's okay. Sometimes I have to be real with you guys, and I have to give you my honest thoughts and opinions on something. I never own or buy or will make a video on a piece of gear that is software-driven hardware. And what I mean by that is headphones that are driven by software, microphones that are driven by software, pieces of rack gear that are software-driven, something that needs something on your computer in order to run. If there's a piece of software or plug-in that it has to run on your computer, in order for the hardware to do what it was intended to do, I'm not interested. Now, that's not to say that I don't think that these things sound good. It's not to say that I don't think that they're good options for some people. My issue is that one day those things are going to be paperweights. One day they'll no longer be supported. I'm in my 20th year of recording and doing studio work, and I cannot tell you how many interfaces, how many plugins, how many computers, how many software-driven things one day became a paperweight because they were no longer supported by software that ran them or that was necessary in order for them to do what they were intended to do. So I'm not telling you not to buy these things. Me, for myself personally, I want real microphones. What's the other thing that is the biggest issue is at the end of these lifespans, these products are worth literally nothing. You can't even sell them because they're not supported by the software anymore. And one day, my belief is that this will happen to every piece of software-driven hardware, microphones, headphones, compressors, whatever. One day, this will happen to all of it. So when I'm buying things, when I'm buying microphones, where is it? Right there. I want a real microphone that I can use for 20 years and then sell it for something real. When I'm doing buying compressors or whatever, I want to use it for 20, 30, I don't know, 50 years. And then I want my daughter to be able to sell it after I'm gone or hang on to it and keep using it, whatever. And if it's software-driven hardware, it's probably going to be worth very little or nothing at the end of its lifespan, and one day it will actually be useless, no matter what it is or who the company is. Feel free to drop the hate in the comments, because I know that there's plenty coming over that one. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you very much. If you have anything to add to this, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Oh, don't forget links in the description for everything. Okay, see ya. Peace.